Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This one is going to be kind of like a little story time kind of video. We're going to talk about Keyan's pregnancy and everything that happened and how she was feeling during the pregnancy and all that stuff. So it was kind of unique from the get-go because I was supposed to be doing the Appalachian Trail and she said that she wanted to get pregnant before I went, and she did. I know I didn't finish the trail, but I was gone for like a month and a half?
Something like that, yeah.
I think you were pregnant for like maybe a month before I left.
It was 6 weeks. 6 weeks before you left. And you left that weekend when we found out.
Oh, okay, so we found out I left, but you were 6 weeks at the time. Okay. So she was 6 weeks in when I left. I was gone for like a month and a half doing the trail. I ended up not finishing the trail, coming back, and then I was here for a little bit. I tried to go back out, and then I just came back home. And I've been here ever since. But if I was gone the entire time, I would have got back like maybe by Thanksgiving at the rate that I would have been going, especially taking time off trail and everything. I would have had a month of her being pregnant before he came, because he came early.
First trimester sucked. Because I was working out and whatever before I was pregnant. And I found out I was pregnant, so I was trying to do specific pregnancy workouts. And then I was walking outside with my mom, and we took Lily on the walk with us to get her outside too. But it ended up being too hot because it was like June. In the middle of June, and it was so hot and humid. Like Lily was salivating so much. I was like, if you're hot, I'm definitely hot. We're going to not do this.
It was hot in Maine. There was a heat wave in Maine before your dad left the trail. It was like 94 in Maine.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was worse here. And so we stopped walking. So then I started doing the workouts. But then I guess I didn't realize how out of breath you're going to be when you're pregnant. So I stopped working out because I just had to take so many breaks. I was so tired of taking so many breaks, being so worn out. So I ended up not doing walks, not doing any workouts. But then I started feeling sick. I talked to my doctor about it. She said I had the pregnancy where I have to eat to feel better.
Eat to survive.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. I didn't like it because I only eat when I'm hungry or bored. But I wasn't really bored because I had a lot of stuff to do because you're gone. Trying to eat when you're not hungry sucked. So I was eating crackers, I was eating like grapes and all this stuff, and I was just like full, especially after I ate lunch. Literally an hour later I'd be hungry and or not really hungry. I'd have to eat because I felt like I was gonna puke. I did the same thing at work, so I'm always munching. I had a full drawer full of treats and goodies, and I was just like trying to survive.
First trimester is when you had the first ultrasound, right? First ultrasound, I was still in the 100-mile wilderness. I was leaving Cloud Pond, the worst one ever. Okay, so in the 100-mile wilderness, I knew about the date of the ultrasound and all that, and I was trying to work it out. Every time I get to the top of a mountain, I would have enough service, and I knew it was that morning, but I was so miserable because everything was soaking wet. I was freezing, and I just could not get out of bed. So I finally got myself up, got dressed, and forced myself to get moving. And then I was fine once I started moving. But I had to run up this mountain that I was going up just to make it in time for the ultrasound. And luckily, they allowed Daisy, Keyan's mom, to FaceTime me while the ultrasound was going on. So that was cool. I kind of made it.
Yeah, poor thing. He's like huffing and puffing on camera.
It was horrible. I think that was the fastest I've ever gone up a mountain, though.
And it sucked too because the signal kept dropping. So I would call him and just ring and then say he's not available. And I was like, oh my God, he's about to miss it.
And for FaceTime, you need 2 bars. You can't do it with one. And you can call on one, and that's how we were talking. I had her on speakerphone. I just put her in my pocket, and I'm just sitting there trucking up the mountain. And I would check it every once in a while. I was still at 1 bar, and I finally got to a part where I was at 2 bars, and then it worked out.
Yeah, you got to see the ultrasound. You got to see the heartbeat.
As far as room goes, we're going to do a full nursery room tour in a later video. I guess for the time being, she was here, and she had planned all of the stuff for his room all by herself. I had no part of it. And then the wallpaper and all that stuff. When did you start doing all that? Was the wallpaper first?
Wallpaper was first. Absolutely hated it. Never gonna do wallpaper again. At least the one where you have to paint on the glue and then put
Legit
the wallpaper on. That was miserable.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I got it from, but it's this cute.
You're gonna have to look it up because we need a link because people are gonna be asking. I guarantee it.
It's a cute little animal travel map. And so the wallpaper, the background color is gray, just like the room. So that's why I really liked it. And then it's white. and it's just the entire wall is covered. And so mom and dad helped me with that. And I know I was going to do it all by myself at first.
Yeah, that would have been
and
I would have
been very miserable. Because I was very miserable with their help because it was just a pain in the butt. But it turned out really good. I'll put the curtains up.
Oh yeah, the curtains. That's the main attraction for the room. She's so happy about these curtains.
I got them off of Amazon. It's gray curtains with a little shawl on the front of it. And
it's like a blackout curtain.
Yes, but it has little star cutouts. So when the sun does shine in, it has stars that glisten on the walls and the floor. So I like that because
it ended up being a bad thing.
Yeah.
We figured out with those curtains, at least the top part of the window, when the sun's shining through it, it'll come through and just light up his bed, which wouldn't be a big deal, but we have a tree right outside the window, and when the wind's blowing, the crib cam, it catches movement all the time, so it's constantly notifying saying there's movement detected, and nobody's in there. So we ended up putting up film and all that, but we'll get to that in the room tour. So I came home because I injured my leg, and I was here for like 3 weeks, I think. We ended up having the gender reveal, and that was great. But then while I was home, it kind of worked out, I think, because she probably would have been really stressed if she had to do all this by herself. But Lily had to have surgery while I was home in those 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a big deal. She would not have been able to do that by herself. I guarantee it. But
yeah, because she, all of a sudden, one day, we were on the couch cuddling, and Lily was in between us, and she just yelped really loud and ran away. Mm-hmm. So we're like, what's wrong? So I checked her gums, and they're pale. And so...
By the way, if you guys don't know that, Can used to be a vet tech, but the easiest way to check and see if your dog is okay or not is the color of their gums.
Yeah, you can press their gums with your finger, and if they change color immediately, great. If it doesn't change color, it's a problem. I called the emergency vet to let them know, like, hey, she whined, but her gums were pale, and so because I told them that her gums were pale, they told me to go ahead and come in immediately. It's the middle of COVID. They're trying to figure out what's an immediate emergency and an emergency that can wait till like the morning when your vet opens. So we brought her in. I felt that we were there all night long, but ended up she's all fine, but she has a mass in her spleen, or on her spleen. So we went home. The next day we went to our local vet, which is the one I used to work at, and they said that she has a tumor on her spleen.
It's a baseball-sized tumor, and we had it removed. So her entire spleen removed.
Yeah, because it was leaking blood or fluid into the rest of her body.
That all happened while I was home for those 3 weeks. The gender reveal, Lily had surgery. She is perfectly fine now, but she also started having leg issues, and it's just everything started to kind of fall apart.
It was a couple months later, maybe 2 months later. No, it was a few weeks later.
No, yeah, because I remember it. So I tried to go back on the trail, and I made it to Mount Washington. I did like 2 days on trail, but my feet just couldn't do it. But I was on Mount Madison climbing to the top, and I wake up, or that's how I start my day. It's very early in the morning, and you left a voicemail talking about Lily and all these issues.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and that's how I started my day there.
I think it was her back left leg started going like knuckling. So her foot, when you walk, is supposed to go like this. But then it ended up, when she was trying to put her foot down, she just didn't know where her foot goes. So it would just kind of like sit there, and sometimes she would drag her foot.
And then just stand on it. She would stand on her knuckle instead of her foot.
So we took her back to the vet, and they said that her nerve endings from her brain to her foot are not connecting very well to let her know that where her foot is. So she's having like a ghost leg. Because we just spent tons of money on the surgery, because he was about to happen, like we didn't have the funds to figure out what's going on with her leg. So right now we're just having her on medicine to see how she does. She's okay.
Yeah, it's you can tell it's getting worse.
But she's not in pain. I mean, that's the big thing, is that she's not in pain, she's happy. But once we have time in the funding, then we got to go see the neurologist to see about surgery and whatnot.
So then the other dog, her dog Jingle, she had him since she was 13. And he was 17?
He's 17. He was 1 month, 2 months.
Either way, we had to put him down as well, and it really sucks. So it just the dogs in general, if I wasn't here for that whole process and everything, I feel like it would have just stressed you out even more. And
oh yeah, because I'm at work crying. My boss was like, just go home. Go home, take time, and come back. I was like, okay, thank you.
There was just so much that happened during the pregnancy, and it was pretty wild.
Yeah, the Jingle part was really hard because he didn't want to eat his food. We ended up being people food. He'd eat people food. But then it got to the point where he'd fall and didn't know how to get up. Mm-hmm. He would like go in circles or run into things more often. So I was just like...
I think the not being able to walk part was the biggest factor. Yeah, I mean, he would just fall down and he can't get himself back up, and he'd be up, like, we'd be down there making food or something, and he was up here yelping because he was stuck somewhere. And it was pretty bad.
I was already waking up because I'm pregnant and had to go pee, but then I had to wake up more often because he would start whining in the middle of the night because he couldn't get under his covers by himself anymore.
Honestly, I would say he was worse than a newborn. Like, dealing with him now, he was worse than a newborn.
I would say kind of, because that would take 2 minutes to do a jingle.
Well,
this one takes an hour.
True. This is true. So the second trimester, you started feeling better?
Yeah, I started feeling better. No issues there at all. But still, it was hot outside, did not want to walk. I ended up taking over the garage because it was cooler to get into the car than being outside.
But then since I was back, we started putting the rest of the stuff in the baby's room, getting it all worked out.
Yeah, because I started ordering stuff when he was on trail. I would send pictures of like, hey, what would you think this or this? And then he would pick and then we'd go with it. And then I didn't actually get to put anything together until he got here. So now it's all put together, which is nice.
Again, we'll go over all that in its own video. Yeah, and that was basically the rough parts of the pregnancy, I think, because after that, it seemed like it was just everyday routine. She started getting the occasional contractions and all that stuff, just her body practicing. And
on third trimester, I was getting swollen.
That too.
That made me mad. Because my feet would swell, so I had to pick my feet up, drinking tons of water, and I had to pee more often because he's pushing on my bladder. Walking was more difficult. I was more out of breath. I felt huge. Everyone's like, you don't look huge. I'm like, thank you, but I feel humongous right now.
We had just taken a trip to Knoxville for Christmas and all that stuff. We just went to Antoine's place for New Year's, and then it was a week after that, I guess. But no, New Year's?
Just 2 days.
It was 2 days after New Year's, yeah. So New Year's Eve, and then 2 days after that, because that was the second, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, the second, we spent the entire day cleaning, and it probably put her into early labor, maybe. Not 100% sure.
Well, the entire day, like, we woke up early because we had to do errands. After the errands, we came back and we were trying to move rooms. So then we were like, well, let's go ahead and clean and help out to move the room. So we went, helped and cleaned the rooms, got on rug doctor, wiped all the stuff down, cleaned everything. I was very safe on cleaning, wearing a mask and all that stuff. But I felt great. I wasn't hurting or anything. But by the time it was like 9 o'clock, because we started at 9 in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, it was like I need to sit down.
He ended up coming 3 weeks early. She started having the contractions, and we're actually going to do a birth video, like labor video, so I'm sure we'll get into more of that for that one. This was mainly just about the pregnancy and all that stuff. Yeah, so she ended up going into labor that Sunday night, and then it took 14 hours, I think, and here he is, right here, just sleeping.
He's such a content little baby.
Yeah, easiest baby. As long as he is clean and he's not cold and he's full, he's good to go. Anything else you want to add about your pregnancy?
No. I don't think so.
So this was just kind of like a little story time video. We're going to do one, like I said, we're going to do one for the labor as well, because we've been talking for 20 minutes. I don't know how long this video is actually going to be at this point, but yeah, we figured talk about the pregnancy and then we could talk about the labor because it was very intense. We'll get into all that in the next one. And then after that, we're going to do a nursery room tour. And then I think Can's gonna do a breastfeeding video. Not showing anything, just talking.
I was about to say, you might want to rephrase that.
Yeah, she already had the pee video, guys, you know. I think that's it. You know, that covered the pregnancy. There was definitely a lot going on, and I'm glad that I ended up being able to be here for it.
Yeah, I'm very glad. Like, I felt really bad that you had to come back.
I did too.
But then I was really grateful that you did come back.
Yeah, I know. It all worked out the way it was supposed to, so I will attempt the trail again with him if he's into hiking.
I do want to point out, so I did want to get pregnant while he's gone, and a lot of people say, like, why? It's going to be hard. Like, I know it's going to be hard, but in a military family, I was like, my mom especially has gone and had been pregnant while, you know, their husbands have been gone for X amount of months. So I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Well, the main reason was she wanted to get pregnant. She wanted to have a baby before she was 30, so...
But because he had this plan is because that's why I was just like, well, if everyone else can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, it worked out.
All the issues that happen.
Right. Yeah. The pregnancy, I think, would have been fine. But
if there was no issues outside of the pregnancy, it'd been fine. The dogs is what tore me to pieces.
Yeah, I know. That was rough. Anyway, ending on a sad note again. that's it. Next one, we'll go into the delivery and all that stuff. And yeah, so if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you do so you don't miss out on all of this family stuff that we got coming up.
All this cuteness right here. We can't really see. Oh, look at him. Look at this little fish. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's like passed out.
Yeah. But yeah, we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Bye.